I am an old man now, my hair silvered with time, yet the memory of that night still chills me, as if it were only yesterday. Before I begin, I must ask you to subscribe, for I have many dangerous tales, stories that are better heard than ignored. It was many years ago, in my youth, that I first encountered the darkness I am about to describe. The Abbey where this occurred had long stood abandoned, yet its walls whispered of long-forgotten rituals, of monks who spoke to shadows and sang to spirits. I had heard the villagers' stories, whispered in the safety of their hearths. Tales of cries at midnight, of doors opening of their own volition, and the eerie glow of lanterns swinging without wind. I had been invited to a grand dinner at the Lord's Manor, an event to mark the end of the harvest. The roads were muddy from persistent rain, and the storm had begun to swell as I approached. Horses whinnied nervously in their stalls. The wind bent the trees like reeds in a river. My companions were delayed, trapped by the fury of the storm, leaving me alone in my chambers, the fire guttering, casting dancing shadows across the walls. My mother had given me instructions long ago to lock all doors, secure the windows, and leave a candle burning to ward away the night. Primera, obeyer. Though I did not yet understand the gravity of her words, the candle flickered as I moved through the room, and I could hear the wind clawing at the shutters, as if it sought entry. Hours passed. I wandered the halls, curious and uneasy. The rain drummed a rhythm against the roof, loud and insistent. I had no desire for sleep that night. I moved to the great hall, its walls lined with ancient tapestries depicting knights, angels, and battles long forgotten. The shadows seemed to twist and writhe, reaching toward me as I moved. Then I heard it. A subtle creak, far too deliberate to be the house settling. I froze, holding my breath. The sound came again, closer this time. From above, the gallery where the Lord's relics rested. My heart thumped so loudly I feared it would betray me to whatever presence lurked there. I climbed the stairs slowly, each step groaning beneath me. Lightning flashed outside, illuminating the hall in stark silver light. For a moment, I saw the shadow of a figure, fleeting and dark, vanishing behind a tapestry. My pulse quickened. There was something in that house, besides myself, something alive, and it watched me. I moved from room to room, checking the doors and the locks, each one secure. Still, the cold was unnatural, seeping into my bones despite the fire. I pressed my hand to the windows. I scolded, perfectly sealed, yet I felt the presence of eyes upon me, unseen, but unmistakable. The storm intensified. Rain lashed the windows. Thunder cracked the sky in deafening rolls, and yet the worst sounds came from within the house. Soft whispers, low and fragmented, as if voices from another age were carried on the wind. I could make out no words, only syllables that tugged at my sanity, urging me to listen closer, though I feared what I might hear. I found myself drawn to the chapel, a small stone room with high-arched windows. The altar was draped in shadows. The air smelled of damp stone, and something older, faintly, of iron and decay. I lit another candle, its flame trembling, and approached the altar. It was then I saw the book, a large, leather-bound tome that had not been there before. The cover was worn, but faint markings were etched deep into the leather. I opened it, pages brittle and yellowed, and the words within seemed to writhe as I read. They spoke of rituals to call spirits from beyond, of sacrifices and offerings to unseen powers. My hands shook as I turned each page. A gust extinguished the candle, plunging me into darkness. The wind howled. Footsteps echoed, not above, not on stairs, but circling me. My heart stopped. I whispered prayers I barely remembered. Then I noticed more objects, moving on their own. A chalice rolling across the altar floor, a candelabra tipping slightly, then standing again. The shadows lengthened, twisting unnaturally. A whisper rose from the floorboards beneath my feet. Soft, mournful, as though chanting from a long-dead choir. I dared not move. The air grew heavy, and then a chilling draft swept through the hall. Extinguishing my remaining candles, the moonlight through the window revealed a figure at the far end of the hall, draped in dark robes. Face hidden beneath a hood, I felt its gaze pierce my very soul. I backed toward the door, and it vanished, only to appear again in another corner of the hall. I realized then that the house itself had become alive. Hallways stretched further than they should. Doors opened into rooms I had never seen before, and staircases led to nowhere. At one point, I saw a shadow flicker past the doorway, holding what looked like an ancient knife. But when I entered, the room was empty. The air smelled of damp earth and burning herbs. I could hear faint chanting from below the floorboards, the words unintelligible, yet full of menace. The hours dragged endlessly. I ventured upstairs again, drawn to a light flickering in the old servants' quarters. There I found a small mirror, covered in dust. Yet when I wiped it clean, I saw not my reflection, but the Abbey's chapel, filled with hooded figures, their faces pale, eyes glowing faintly, whispering incantations in a language I did not understand. Fear rooted me to the spot, yet curiosity, or madness, compelled me to watch. A figure stepped forward, extending a hand toward the mirror. I recoiled, and in that instant, it disappeared, and I found myself back in the servants' room, alone, or so I thought. Finally, as dawn's weak light bled through the storm clouds, the house grew still. The book lay closed on the altar once more. As if nothing had occurred, the fire had died, leaving the halls cold and gray. I locked the doors one last time, and with a shudder, I left the Abbey behind, vowing never to return, even now. Decades later, I cannot pass by an old abbey or hear the patter of rain on stone without remembering that night. Some things are best left unspoken, and some doors should never be opened. Take heed, listener. Lock your doors. Keep your candles lit, and never underestimate the unseen. The world is older and darker than we are, and the night holds stories we are not meant to hear.